I'm Craig Reger,
I'm Katie.
and we are actually coming live from Phoenix, Arizona. I landed at like 10 o'clock last night. It was still 85 degrees. So super weird to feel that level of heat. I haven't made it outside yet. You went for a big hike today.
Yeah, they actually told me if I went any later, I would die. They said that a helicopter would come get me from heat stroke. So
you
I went
hiked
at 6
Camelback?
this morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many miles?
It's like two and a half.
Totally vertical.
Yeah.
She said there was literally paramedics at the base of the mountain just prepared for people to collapse. So yeah. Good job for you. Super thrilled to be with all of you. Again, I'm Craig Reger. I'm the founder of Reger Coaching and Consulting. Some of you I know. Some of you don't know anything about who we are, which is totally cool. So we'll give a really quick background, but we're going to move quickly into content because we recognize and respect how busy all of you are. And our goal today is to give you some value through mindset, through possibly some techniques to get some additional listings into your business. Frankly, our mantra is do more business with more balance. It's that simple. Background on me, I've been in real estate for like some 20 something years. I do have a team based out of Portland, Oregon. Right now, we're tracking to close just about 300 units this year. So my team's doing pretty well. And I share that only because we're in production. Like we have lived through a pandemic in production and going through what all of you have gone through. Up until 2 years ago, actually this week, I owned a series of Keller Williams franchises throughout Oregon and California. I had just about 1,000 agents working in those franchises. Katie was a business partner in one of those as well. And we were doing over $2 billion a year in volume. And I sold all of those 2 years ago this week because my passion is coaching and consulting. And although I had 900 plus agents to coach and consult, we're up to about 1.7 million agents across the country. And frankly, you guys are a great example of why I sold it. Like boo on KW or KW's rad, like it doesn't matter to me. But at the end of the day, like I want to get in front of Cascade Sotheby's. I want to get in front of other great brands and great leadership and get to know those agents. And hopefully you guys will all find out in the next hour or so and hopefully provide some value. So that's our goals for today. I really appreciate the group that has their cameras on. For the rest of you, I'm just going to assume that you're in a place where you don't want your cameras on. That was Katie 10 minutes ago. We're doing this from her hotel room, and Katie was not in camera form 10 minutes ago. You look really good now.
I showered for you guys. You're welcome.
Katie and I have been in business together for about 8 years. Katie helped me grow an office in Eugene, Oregon to #1 market share as a recruiter and as a coach. We sold that company, and she's been over at the coaching company for about 2 years. And I've got Mr. Matty G. Where's Matty?
Hi, guys.
Wow, that was amazing, Matt.
I love being on these Zoom calls with great agents, especially in our own backyard in our state. So it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, Matt's located in Salem, Oregon. And last but not least, we have the incredible Destiny. Destiny is our operations manager and just makes sure that technology-wise and everything else goes off without a hitch. And so far today, you are crushing it, Destiny, so thank you. And I am already on the wrong slide, winning.
Oh, but we're going to cover this today.
We are, yeah. I brought in some new content.
This is a sneak peek, you guys.
Why is my slides not working as I just said how technology? How do I go back? That's awesome. I'm going to unshare.
Yeah, unshare it, Craig.
Perfect. Destiny, you're in charge.
She's like, stop touching
You're in
buttons.
charge.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of excited to be in Phoenix. So after this afternoon, we get to speak. There's 3,000 agents here from around the country, and we get to speak at our next event at 1 o'clock today.
I think so.
Which is just crazy to be back on a plane and to be in a room with 3,000 agents. Like it's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, that's exciting.
All right. What's up, Steve Rosling? I see your name on there. Good morning, sir. Okay, we are RCC Coaching. Everyone needs a coach. Great job, Destiny. Let's go to the next slide and get started. Oh, by the way, I'm just scrolling this morning. Can you do play slide deck, Destiny, so it just kind of shows the actual slide? What was I going to say, by the way?
I don't know. You got really excited.
I got super excited.
Does that work?
I know what it is. Ask questions. We have a small group. Our next group is 3,000 people. It will be physically impossible for them to ask questions.
Yep.
Like, hey, you, a mile in the back. This is for you guys. We want to bring value. We want to talk about what's happening in your world, your market, your struggles, your successes. So unmute yourself or use the chat box. How should we start the chat box, Katie?
Why don't we share what we had for breakfast so that we can make sure that you guys actually know how to use the chat box. Let's break the ice. And then I always like good breakfast tips.
I had a sausage egg McMuffin deal.
You're welcome.
Starbucks deal.
You had one delivered too.
Yeah, you dropped it in my room. That was super sweet.
Yes.
All right, we're going to start with this. Mr. Stephen Covey, phenomenal book. For my personal sales team, we have been doing a 10-minute mastermind on this every single week so far this year and going through the 7 habits. And we've already gone through the 7 habits like 3 times. And I think what's kind of cool about that is there might be a habit that I'm not facing or experiencing or quite frankly could care less about. And then 7 weeks later, I'm back to that habit. I'm like, holy moly, like, thank goodness we're going over this habit today because it's really resonating in my business. There's a quote from the book, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, right? It's not what we do. Like we wake up, we look at our schedule, we have all these activities to do. And that's kind of how we start our day, our week, our month, is we let our schedule often dictate our actions, our events, which ultimately leads to our success or lack thereof, which ultimately leads to our balance or lack thereof, which ultimately leads to our, well, you went hiking 6 miles on one of the like steepest inclines in the planet this morning. But right, like you booked that, like, hey, I'm gonna go to Phoenix and you sought out to go and be healthy this morning.
Yep. Well, and it started with even yesterday. It's like I'm flying in and I chose like a better meal yesterday so that I wouldn't wake up groggy and like it's like you start like 24 hours in advance, right? To prioritize what's important to you.
And that's what you did. You've been like, oh, I could have been like out of town away from my 2-year-old and my husband. I had some cocktails last night. That's been known to happen at real estate conventions. And on the flip side, you said, no, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to do a 6-mile vertical hike this morning. So you scheduled your priority.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go to the next slide, talk a little bit more about that. And I promise, guys, I'm going to get into some pretty, hopefully awesome and deep real estate stuff. And I wanted to start with a little bit of foundation. Which quadrant do you live in? So this is from the 7 habits. This is habit 3. And where do you spend your time? So let's kind of go through these. Let's go bottom left, like not important, urgent, not important. 3, yes, ma'am. Often in our industry, we attract these types of behaviors. Often in this industry, we display these types of behaviors. What's a yes man or yes woman? I think Mr. Stephen Covey needs to be a little more PC here. Working with unmotivated people, right? That's a yes man. At the end of the day, I don't think anything is more tiresome, exhausting, or can lead to burnout than an unmotivated client, buyer or seller. The good news is, I guess, the unmotivated sellers will still sell in this market because it's still extraordinarily hot.
Right.
The unmotivated buyers will absolutely destroy us. And that's true in any market, right? Like you got a normal market where houses are selling at full price or 20,000 under, and that buyer wants to come in 50,000 under.
Well, and even on the other side, the unmotivated agent, like what's the difference of your competition? And again, depending on what side of the market you're on, right? That could be little work or it could be a lot for a buyer's agent.
Yeah, allowing interruptions, allowing other people's small problems become your problems. And I'm not saying like, let's not be great human beings and help out our fellow. What I am saying though is, where are we living? There's a client I coach is one of the top, he's actually the #1 agent in Hawaii, all brands, Mr. Rustin Tong. And Mr. Rustin Tong is the ultimate yes man. And we've been going through these quadrants for the last couple of weeks with him. And it's like, Rustin, you can help so many more people if you actually stop being interrupted so much helping people.
Wait, so you just said the #1 agent is actually living in quadrant 3. So he's a human and
yes.
He messed up a little bit.
Yes.
So, like we're not perfect.
No, he's living there, but he's also, and the stress is the relationship with his wife is not on point right now because he's working 17 hours a day and has no balance to give back. He's gained some weight, he's getting out of health. So #1 agent, like great, like check that box. But at the end of the day, who really cares? It's actually tearing him apart on the inside because he's saying yes to so many things that who he's not saying yes to is himself and his most important relationships. Let's go over to quadrant 4, the slacker, too much TV, staying up at all hours, binge watching Netflix, which is pretty rad sometimes. Constantly hopping on this, the Facebook, the Instagram, unimportant phone calls, texting when it's not necessary. Where I see quadrant 4 really coming into play is certainly social media throughout the business day, but I actually see it coming in more into the evening. right? It's like, am I binge watching, one more episode of Breaking Bad and going to bed at midnight or 1 a.m, rather than getting a great night's sleep, not hitting my snooze alarm 16 times in the morning, getting up, getting out of bed on time with high energy and attacking that day.
When I see 3 and 4, I think of the 80%. Like everything that is, distracting and things that I say is important, but it's not, right? We know that 20% of our actions make up the 80% of our effort, or 20% of our actions equal 80% of our effort. Yeah, yeah, sure.
No,
We know
20% of our
80%
actions equal 80% of our results.
There you go. Right. And so when I think of this, is that I'm just doing things to pretend I'm busy, whether that's inputting to MLS when I don't need to be doing that, or driving around making a flyer or putting signs up. I don't need to be doing that. And yet I feel like I'm being important. So I think of the 3 and 4 as 80%.
Where most people that we coach, most of us in this industry, certainly where I found myself living most of the time throughout my real estate careers in quadrant 1, urgent and important. So examples of that is being late for an appointment, right? Like urgent, I got tied up with something. I'm now super stressed out trying to be there on time. Car breaks down. That can be, well, cars do break down, but also there's often warning signals of that. I actually had my car break down. Matty G was there. Matt, remember when my car broke down?
Oh yes, that was an epic afternoon.
Yeah, I bought a brand new Maserati, absolutely hated it, and decided I love nothing more than my 10-year-old Ford truck. And my 10-year-old Ford truck had this noise it made for a couple of weeks, and I just procrastinated dealing with it. And then Matt came up from Salem to spend the afternoon, my wife and I ran to the store to buy some steaks. And lo and behold, while I was at the store, my truck broke down. So next thing I know, I'm calling Matt and my wife to literally come and push my truck off the road. Right? But that, I don't know, you've never heard that story, but that's an example of I created that urgent importance. I could have dealt, which we'll get to in just a second, put that in box 2, but I created that by my procrastination. Inconsistent business, which most of us have in this industry, like whether you sell 400 houses a year or 14, well, let's say you sell 12. It's never like it's January I sold a home, it's February I sold a home, it's March I sold a home, it's April. It doesn't work that way when we sell 12 homes. It's like 0, 0, 0, 4, and then we're just busy as hell.
Yep.
Right? Or if you're selling more homes, it might be like 17 during the summer months, and then we might get into winter and it's 2. That's an inconsistent business.
Yeah, I say most people come to coaching, and the top 3 reasons, one of them is consistency. Like they want consistency. So we'll touch on that today, but that's getting out of box 1 and then moving to box 2.
Yeah. And exactly. And then losing a listing is often just because we were working on our prep last minute. We just didn't give it the time it needed, is often what it comes down to. So let's hit quadrant 2, move to the next slide. This is where we ask everybody to live during their working hours for about 1 hour a day. Some days 2 hours, some days 30 minutes, but 30 minutes to 2 hours a day. Are we doing our script practice? Oh, I'm not a script person. Let's call it like it is. We all have scripts. We all have things we say over and over. Are they effective? Do they communicate in the best way? Do they elicit the best response from the consumer to learn about their needs, hopes, dreams, and goals? Like we have scripts. So when folks say to me, I'm not a script person, I guarantee if I was to shadow 5 listing appointments of theirs, they have a similar layout of how they communicate.
Well, it's just saying something more effectively, right? So more efficiently. So rather than rambling on for 20 minutes, I could say that in 2 sentences with a better script. And I don't know about you, but my time is valuable. So I'd rather just practice and say it shorter and more efficiently.
Yeah, lead generation, that's something we should prioritize. Or at the very least, lead follow-up. Listing prep, something we just talked about, falling into issues potentially in box 1. Goal setting, right? Goal setting is where we should live in box 2. Like, here's what I tend to accomplish this day, this week, this month, this year, and then actually check in on our status of that. The typical agent that we coach, even mega high producers, like, how many houses did you sell last year? A lot. How much money did you make? I don't know, a lot. Well, that means that we're not spending time in box 2 looking at where we stand against our goals. And then, of course, in non-urgent but important is relaxation, sleep, working out, eating well, as you just discussed, health. So for what it's worth, I camped on this for a few minutes. Where are you living and what adjustments can you make moving forward? To me, it's really powerful. And what I realized is if I choose to spend more time in box 2, then everything else in my life becomes easier. It's just that simple. And in our industry, especially, we trick ourselves because we're so good at box one. Like, let's call it like it is. To be a really effective agent, you can multitask, you can juggle multiple balls, you can pivot from problem to problem, and you're a professional solver of those issues. So we trick ourselves like, I'm so good in box one, but then we could be like my friend Rustin in Hawaii, and we're living in box three, but then our business, we're in box one.
Right.
If we just took some time to slow down, work on our scripts, practice our lead gen, work on our health, check in on our goals, make sure we're breathing, everything else becomes easier. Let's go to the next slide, Destiny. And if anybody has any questions or excitements or ahas, feel free to shoot it out.
Well, and something
Destiny, let's go to the next slide.
just to challenge you too, take a screenshot of that and put that as your background on your computer for a week.
Yeah.
So every time that you kind of gaze and start going Facebook or whatever, literally look at that and just think, where, like, what quadrant am I living in right now?
Okay, cool. Really quick, I'll run through this and we'll get into some listing strategies. This is our org charts that every single agent, I believe, in the country has, right? Every one of us is the CEO of our business. You're at a phenomenal company. I've had an opportunity to spend some time with Deb, outstanding leader. I wish I'd met her a decade ago. Mr. Brian, I know Steve in my market. Michael and I used to be in the same office. So CEOs, what company do I work at? Do I buy Zillow leads? Do I sleep in? Do I show up for Craig's hour today or do I not? Like, those are CEO decisions.
Yep.
Only CEOs can make that decisions, and one of them is what brand are you at, and you guys have picked a phenomenal one. Next is every agent on the planet is a listing agent. It's just that simple.
Yep.
Like you're gonna go and take listings at some point, or hopefully you intend to. Katie, what's the average sales price? You're in Eugene, Oregon.
It's bumped up to like 400,000.
Wow, congratulations.
I know.
That is a big jump.
We're
for
coming up
Eugene.
to Ben's price 2 years ago.
So you're at 400. So the average listing commission for round numbers is what, like 10,000, 12,000?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's call it 10. If you go on a listing appointment tonight, you can't because you're in Phoenix, but let's just say you did.
Okay.
How long is that listing appointment?
About an hour.
I agree with that. Some are longer, some are shorter.
Right.
If they sign a contract with you and it's a $10,000 commission, I'm going to argue that you made half of that commission, $5,000.
I like that $1 per hour.
Yeah, that's $5,000 an hour in your market.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's not a tremendous amount of work to do to get that house on the market, you know, deal with the 9,000 showings, the 11 offers, but none of that work is even relevant unless you get the listing contract signed.
Makes sense.
And your market has about 2,500 agents.
Yep.
So whether that listing was your best friend from church, a past client, somebody you met at an open house, that's irrelevant to me. They picked you over 2,500 agents and signed a contract with you to sell their home. That's got to be worth at least half the commission.
Yeah.
So that's a $5,000 an activity, $5,000 an hour activity. Okay, let's jump to the next quadrant, administrative side. This is an RCC coach, and we call this being the nurse of the company. Nurses are critical. They are the backbone of the organization. I also call the listing agent the surgeon side, right? My daughter had life-threatening surgery, geez, about 5 years ago. She's about 8 at the time. And the surgeon saved her life. There's no gray whatsoever. We're in the hospital for about a week. Who do you think took care of my daughter during that entire week?
The nurses.
Yeah, my wife and I were on cots, literally right next to her. And the surgeon was great. She came in every single day, checked the charts, answered our questions, told us what to expect next.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the end of the day, it was the nurses that literally on the hour, every single hour, 24 hours a day, checked on Olivia. They're the backbone of the company. So you sign that listing contract, and then Katie, you zoom back to your home office, or if your office is open in Eugene, Oregon, you go to your brokerage and you start making a flyer, you start calling stagers, you start inputting it to the multiple listing. That's the nurse or administrative side of the company, yes or no?
Yeah.
And what is that worth an hour?
Ooh, anywhere from $12 to $25.
Yeah, it's called $18 an hour.
Yeah.
So just clarity, and I'm not saying hire somebody to be your admin. The reason I'm camping on this, ladies and gentlemen, is I want us to have clarity on where do we spend our time? Where do we spend our time and what's our return? So you just went from $5,000 an hour to $18 an hour. And the reason I point this out is so often in my career and the people I've coached, I go home just exhausted. And it's like, man, I put in a 16-hour day today and I'm just beat, or even worse, I went and showed homes all afternoon and then I'm up until midnight turning in paperwork, right? And it's like exhausting. And I just want to choose or make sure I'm aware of this org chart and I spend enough hours of each day being a surgeon, not a nurse. The nurse work is critical, but that doesn't give me the right to not be a surgeon, because the moment I stop being a surgeon, then my business has ups and downs. I close 6 homes, I wake up with 0 escrows, I got to go and find business, I find some, I close 6 homes, I'm super busy being the nurse, I wake back up with 0 escrows when they close. Make sense?
Well, and I love that analogy too, because we make more than most surgeons. Like you have the capability of making a ton of money. So why are you not treating yourself? Like, and a surgeon just goes from surgeon to surgery to surgery to surgery, right? They're not going in and checking people in and then running back and then, you know, checking pulses and then going to another room and then helping this person. Like it's efficient, it's streamlined. So why are we not treating our business the exact same way at a really high level?
Awesome. And then of course we have the buyer's agent. To me, the buyer's agent's a different role than opening doors. That is winning in multiple offer situations, or at least helping your client put his or her best foot forward in a different market that, or maybe we've got some houses for under asking right now. It's helping your client save money on the purchase. It's solving low appraisals. It's navigating nasty home inspections. To me, that's the surgery side of the buyer business. Opening doors at a really high, and it's worth about $500 to $1,000 an hour from my experience in most markets. And then there's the showing side, opening doors at a really high level. That is not worth $1,000 an hour. Probably worth $50 an hour, maybe $100 if somebody is really well trained.
Yeah.
So where do you spend your time? If you look back at your last couple of weeks, or if Katie, Matt, and I can follow you around in this org chart, where have you spent your time? And what I would say is that your escrows, your checking account, your savings account, your pipeline of future business we could probably predict it if we'd followed you around for a few weeks and saw where you spent this time. And then of course you could have a future org chart and say, well, maybe I need a house cleaner. And what I mean by that is, well, if I don't have a house cleaner, which many points in my life, I didn't have a house cleaner, so I'd clean the house, I'd scrub the toilets, I would do those activities. So, you know, that's what it's like if we're the nurse of our company, maybe it's consideration time to bring a nurse in. So it's possible 6 or 12 months from now, or 2 months from now, if you don't have a nurse, you can hire one. It's possible you could have somebody open doors for you. I'm a big fan of the showing agent model, a really, really well-trained person to open doors for me, not with every client, but with some clients.
Right.
But I'm the agent, let's be clear. I write the offers, I solve the problems, I negotiate the contracts, which is frankly where I love to live. But I might have somebody else with certain clients assist me in opening doors. I get back a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility with that model.
You guys ask questions. We're here for you. You know, we'll keep this to an hour if you guys are not interacting or whatever, just to kind of get in, get out. But if you guys want to take this for prep, to be here for an hour and a half for you. So if you guys want to ask questions, if you have questions about this, it's sad that we don't spend more time on this org chart. It should be taught in real estate school. It should be something that we focus on daily, and it's not. So if you guys have questions or the breakdown or how those roles work, or even just pay structure, a lot of people don't know a lot about showing assistants. And in this market, if you're selling over 12 homes right now, like you need a showing assistant, I think. Like I'm making that number up right now. We can argue that, but I mean, you're probably spending 60 hours per buyer right now. Like delegate that out if you want to spend time with your family this summer. And by the way, that's you missing out on surgeon work, right? So
you want to unshare real quick, Destiny?
So that, you know, the more that we're showing properties to buyers who are probably not even really A's, right? People who want to like buy or can actually listen to you and take your advice today. We're just wasting our time. And so that's time with your family that's gone, or lead generating so that you can go get another listing, which will be gone in 24 hours. So again, where are you spending your time and making sure that it's in the right quadrant?
Well, it's interesting, kind of my big aha with my own team and through coaching clients is that it's really shifted. We're in a different market. We're in an awesome market. Like I love it, but in a different market, you know, it was our clients might see 5, 10, 20 houses before writing an offer. So showing homes was very taxing, opening all those doors. And in this market, quite frankly, buyers are seeing 1 or 2 homes often and pulling the trigger. Would you guys agree with that? I've got Laura nodding her head. Yeah, they are. So the taxing part is actually writing all of those offers, right? It's in the past, they might see 15 or 20 homes, and more times than not, they'd make 1, maybe 2 offers and they'd be in escrow. And in today's market, it's you're not showing a lot of houses. Actually, the taxing part is on the buyer's agent, not the showing agent, because he or she is writing a bunch of offers.
Yeah.
And they're strong. Like, I mean, what world are we living in where we're coming in 100,000 over asking, removing contingencies, and our client loses? Like, holy smokes, right? So that's the taxing side. So just shifting with it. But in any capacity, that showing agent, you know, I often ask somebody, like, all right, Katie, you sell 26 houses a year. How many hours in the last 30 days, so let's go back to April 13th, how many hours in the last 30 days would you say that you showed houses? Or just we're opening doors, showing homes? 10 hours a week?
Easily.
15 hours a
Easily.
week?
Yeah, if you're selling them in your homes, easily.
All right, let's just go to modify it to 10 hours a week
Okay.
over a month.
Yep.
So that's 40 hours of showing homes,
That's
driving to, opening doors, driving back to your home or office.
It's a whole week of work.
It's a whole week of work.
Yeah.
Katie, if I could give you back a whole week of work, what would you do? Would you go hiking more?
I'd spend half of it with my family and the other half making more money.
Yeah, I firmly believe for most of us in this industry, there's actually business flying by us. There just is, Frank. Like there's business out there flying by us. And often we're just so head down and so busy living in quadrant one, urgent and importance. We're so head down and so busy that we don't have time to reach up and grab that business.
Right.
And so I'm not advocating that all of you go and hire a showing agent tomorrow. It's just start with an awareness of where you're spending your time. Is there opportunities you're missing because of where you're spending your time? I literally, this happened to my team 2 days ago. We have a brand new agent, Ashton, been with us 21 days. Ashton set an appointment and she went over to Tyler on our team and said, Tyler, you free at 2 o'clock today? And Tyler's been out for a week with eye surgery. And Tyler goes, I'm really slammed catching up on emails. So she turned around to Drew and it's like, hey, I set an appointment. Can you help me at 2 o'clock with my first client? Drew's like, yes, I can. It's like, and I just grabbed Tyler. It's like, dude, I know you're busy after taking a week off with eye surgery, and you just missed out on an opportunity to sell a home.
Yep.
Like that's
Catching up on emails. Yeah.
So, it's just be careful. And Katie, you brought up the A, Bs and Cs.
Mm-hmm.
So at RCC, we've all heard A, Bs and Cs. A's are motivated, they'll do something in the next 30 days. Bs are 30 to 60 days, and Cs are further out. And I totally agree in any capacity of that analogy of A, Bs and Cs. We're a little different at RCC. What's our definition of an A client?
Someone who takes your advice.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Katie, the list price is $700,000, and there is no chance whatsoever of you getting this property under $750,000. That doesn't feel good for you to agree to pay $50,000 over asking, but you are motivated. If you're motivated, you'll do what?
I'll do it. I'll take
Now,
advice.
of course, there could be a scenario where that's above what she's approved for or can afford, but regardless, an A will take your
You'll
advice.
take your advice.
A B, what does a B say?
Oh, it's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Well, Craig, I really like it, but the kitchen's a little small, so let's just offer 710. Let's just offer 710. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, but in this market, that's not going to fly. Right, and they're exhausting. They're truly exhausting. So be aware, are you spending your time with A's or B's? And a C just has a whole set of other issues going on. A C is waiting for a job transfer to get accepted, or waiting for their tax return to show up, or waiting for a house to sell before they can purchase.
Yeah.
So look at your book of business and classify each one under those quadrants of A, B, and C, and see if there's some adjustments that you might potentially want to make, or maybe you're being the yes man or yes woman living in quadrant 3 by showing unmotivated people. You're giving unmotivated, not you, as an industry, we'll give unmotivated people our time that we should be either spending with the motivated or spending to find the motivated. Right? And I had a great instructor a few years back. He was like, how do you find A's? Like, is there a club A in Phoenix tonight? We're going to go to club A and that's where all the motivated
I
are?
wish.
Is every referral motivated?
Nope.
Is every force of land motivated?
No.
No, there's no club A. The only way to have a bunch of A's in our world is every single day or a few days a week to wake up and look for some A, B's, and C's.
Well, this is why getting a coach is so important, because you guys, we all screw up, and we might actually start with an A. They might be super motivated, and when we maybe didn't ask enough questions, so we start showing them homes, and then maybe a week later, 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, they actually bump down to a B. But we now love that person, we love that client, and we just have the habit now of showing them these homes. And so it takes that outside perspective of being like, hey, what quadrant are you in? Where are you spending your time? Is this person actually are they actually an A? And it's okay to bump them down to a B and say, hey, these are the standards, or I'm gonna have someone else show this property for you. I'm here to write the contract when you're ready. But it really takes someone to look at your schedule constantly, because even the best agents have this habit of kind of falling in love with our clients and wasting our time when we really should, again, be prioritizing the A's.
Well, one of the reasons we stick with the B's and C's is because they're the only client we have.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what it mostly comes down to, is we stick with the B's and C's because we actually don't have any other clients. And I only say this from personal experience, because I've been doing this a long time. Brian has as well. He knows this, right? Like sometimes we're working with people we shouldn't be working with. They don't respect our time. They don't take our advice. They're nice human beings, but we're working with them because we don't have anyone else. So we're too afraid to give up on working with them because we're hoping it's that commission we're going to get next month. Where reality is, if we just cut them, not cut them, but just literally had a real conversation. Like, kid, you're not motivated. Your motivation is not matching this market. I love you. I love Derek. I love your family. And your motivation isn't matching this market. So I want to have a conversation with you to get an alignment of what it's going to take to win in this market, and then just see where that goes. And if I get you back into alignment in the market, fantastic. And if not, I know damn well I should wake up tomorrow, reach out to my database, reach out to my family, friends, and past clients. With that, Destiny, if you want to load the next slide, reach out to my family, friends, and past clients and start finding people to talk to.
Well, and just so you guys know, the reason that it's, if we go back to the quadrants too, that's us living in quadrant 2, the top left one, because
Right.
no, well, whatever, the one that's top left,
That's
because
quadrant 1.
no, quadrant 1, because we are just saying yes and we're just trying to get to the next person. We didn't actually stop and prioritize our time and set up systems ahead of time. So we're always scared to lose the bee. So we actually don't have a system, or your business isn't up and running fully to say to that bee, hey, I'm going to put you on a drip campaign. I'm going to check in weekly with you. I have a pipeline, because we're just living in that crazy day-to-day life. So getting a coach, prioritizing your life, how you actually run your business as a company, because you guys are running a business, right? So that takes time in advance. And that's what happens is right now it's summer and we're going to be so busy with those B's and C's because we didn't stop to slow down to create the systems.
Next slide, Destiny. Great job. All right, database. How many people are in your Met database? And I do separate Met from database because weird people that sign up on our website that live in their parents' basement, I don't count. Their leads, Matt smiling, I made somebody smile. Their leads, Michaela's smiling. They're leads, but they're different kind of leads, right? I just don't know. Are they psycho axe murderers, or are they gonna buy a house someday, right? That's what an internet lead is. One of my coaches had a great name for internet leads. He called them suspects. Right? It's like, I just bought 100 leads. Now you have 100 suspects. And so if you properly work those 100 suspects, there's a closing or 2 in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. When I think of Met database, I think of people that I've broken bread with. I think of people that I've drank wine with. I'm thinking of people that I missed my daughter's soccer game to help them secure a home. I'm thinking of people I went to high school or college. I'm thinking of my doctors, my attorneys, my CPAs. That's my Met database. Yeah. And that group, the question to ask yourself is, how many people are in your Met database, period. And there's no right or wrong, but here's as certain as gravity, I can assure you, the greater that number is, the more business you'll do. The greater that number is, the more business you'll do. And then here's the test of it is, how frequently have you communicated in the last 12 months? So if I was to pick on one of you, deciding I should pick on somebody, probably not. But if I was to pick on one of you and personally get to coach you for a couple of minutes, I might just grab Heather and just be like, Heather, let's pretend it is May 13th. I'm not sure what city Heather's in. Let's pretend it's Bend. I hope it's Bend. I love Bend. And let's say Heather's in Bend. And Heather, my wife and I bought a house in Bend 1 year ago today. You were an agent. You were phenomenal. It's been 1 year and you handed us keys, right? Like, great job, cool gift basket, big, well, there'd be no hugging a year ago because it was COVID, but a big virtual high five, like, it was awesome. You handed us our keys. It's been 1 year, Heather, or Allison, or iPhone Wendy. It's been 1 year today. Brian, the question I would ask your agents is, how many times have we heard from you? Right, we're a past client, you killed yourself to help us win in a competitive situation. Super complex because it was 1 year ago today, which means we bought in the beginning of COVID, which was a scary time. And you did such a great job for us. And it's been 1 year ago today. How many times did we hear from you? Via email, via text message, via newsletter? Allison has a very nice smile, by the way. Via newsletter, Steven's smiling bigger now. Like, how many times did we hear from you? And I'm sure it's none of you. But when I coach live around the country, and that's today, it's my first time coaching live in 14 months in Phoenix in a couple hours. I'll ask that question to audience members, and it's such an array of responses. Well, 1 time, 0 times, 6 times. My favorite answer is somebody's like, a whole lot if they drink beer. I drink beer, so I invite my guys. Like,
it's not intentional.
My personal belief, actually, no, my personal experience, if it's less than 24 times, you're leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table. At the end of the day, if it's less than twice a month, you are leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table. I think of like Nordstrom, and I started shopping online at Nordstrom a few years ago, and I bought my first thing. I get an email every bloody day from Nordstrom. Their touch campaign is 365, and what do? Delete, 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 delete. holy crud, I've been invited to go on a business trip and speak in front of a live audience, and my dress shoes suck. Boom, just ordered dress shoes. Didn't delete that. I acted in business. And if Nordstrom hadn't sent me that email, I might have gone to Saks or somewhere else and bought them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I think 365 is too much, but at the end of the day, if it's less than twice a month, we're leaving business on the table.
We're going to get into a couple strategies for you guys to implement right away, but this is the first thing to implement. If you guys just walked away from this recording from here on out and just said, I'm going to implement today, I'm going to grow my database up to, again, how many people in your database is a direct correlation to how many homes you're going to sell. Direct correlation.
And how frequently you communicate them.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're going to grow that number to X amount, 200, 300, 400 to 600, 700, 800, whatever that looks like for you, and how much business you want to make. And then starting today, start reaching out to them every 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be, we're always trying to get ready to get ready. Like, do you know what email you're going to send out in like 3 months from now?
No, the whole world could, well, it certainly has over the last 14 months. Like, hell no. Why would I know what's going on in the world or my market 3 months from now? But what do I know, Katie?
Well, we know right now that the market's hot, so we can.
No, sorry, you asked about 3 months from now. What I know is certain as there's gravity is 3 months from now, I'll send out 2 touches to my database. That's what I know.
Yeah.
Do I know what they're going to say? Nope. Do I know how long they're going to be? Nope. But what I know is that as certain as there is gravity, 3 months from now, my Met database will hear from me in some capacity twice.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we pull up an example of one of our touches that my team recently did? Would that be okay, Destiny? Oh, wow, my old eyes, that's fabulous. Okay, so this went out a couple weeks ago to our database. I literally can't read that because I'm old. 84,100 was the subject line. So this is the Portland market. And by the way, this number is up substantially in the last month. 84,100 is the amount the average home value in Portland Metro went up last year. 84,100, I really can't read that. That's phenomenal. Represents something about how much money the average seller has made. 84,100 represents what you lost if you didn't buy a year ago. 84,100 represents the amount the current homeowner just gained in equity in their home. And so this touch went out to my database as we have a touch go out. Is it beautiful, Katie?
No.
This is literally the touch. There's emojis, there's happy faces.
This was an email.
This is an email that went out to my database, which is about 3,500 people now in my Met database. We set 6 listing appointments within 72 hours of the touch going out.
Insane. 6
people called us. So like, wow, it's like, yeah, Craig, I'm glad that you reached out. We're getting divorced, or people do get divorced, unfortunately. Or, hey, Craig, I'm glad that you reached out. I no longer have to be present at Intel and I get to move to Bend, Oregon. So we do want to sell our house. I'm glad you reached out. It's just a call to action.
Yeah.
They must all be young, Craig, because if they're my age, they wouldn't have been able to read that email either.
Yeah, agreed, Brian. And this is an unfortunate screenshot for all of you to see, but I promise you in the email, it was actually larger. The point is, do you have examples like this where we're 4 months and 13 days in the year? Do each of you have examples like this that we're good, Destiny? Whoa, there it is. Gosh,
There it is.
amazing.
There you go.
Amazing. Will this remain? I like the bottom. We lost our crystal ball, so the answer is unclear. What we do know is the current market is benefiting both buyers and sellers. There's low rates, and sellers, rising values, who want to capitalize on the historic market. If you want to play, let's connect. Let's have a conversation. So pretty cool. And then we'll see at the bottom, which is just kind of there, and this is something that we just completed a week ago, is do you want to chill out? It's National Chill Out Day. Well, we had 350 people show up at our office. We had this Kona ice truck show up, and we got a chance to communicate, call, text, and talk with our Met database. And we had 350 people show up for Kona Ice about 10 days ago. Super fun. Parents and kids and past clients were able to do it with social distancing because it was outside. Like, who doesn't want free Kona Ice? What did Laura ask me?
Craig, how often do you personally call, text, or email each client outside of newsletters or group emails?
Laura, I love that question. Not as much as I should, in all transparency, right? I'm a pretty honest coach. Well, not pretty honest, I'm very honest. Like, Laura, I'd love to share with you. I call my clients every single quarter because I read a book and that's what it says. Yes, I should do that. And that is why I'm so reliant on this touch campaign. And by the way, our touch campaign is it's 1 email and 1 snail mail. 1 email and 1 snail mail. So we're kind of getting both groups that way, because we don't have every client's email address. We don't have every client's address. So it's one email, one snail mail. We do make a conscious effort. We've got client Fridays. And so on my team, and remember, you're like, Craig's talking about a team. I'm not a team. Let's go back to slide 2. Like, we're all a team. We're all listing agents, buyers agents, administrative, showing agents, and CEOs.
Yep.
I just chose to hire some people to fill some of those slots. But Katie, you're an individual agent.
Mhm.
You have all 5 of those hats.
Yep.
So you actually are a team.
Yep.
Right? On each given day, you have 5 different jobs when you're a real estate agent.
Absolutely.
Our team spends Fridays, and we're supposed to spend Fridays from 9 to 11 checking with our past clients. Checking in to wish them well, checking in to invite them to Kona Ice. I think one of the reasons we do events like Kona Ice, what was her name? Laura? Laura, it's a great question. One of the reasons we do things like Kona Ice is because it forces us to slow down and make those phone calls. It forces us to not 100% rely on the emails and snail mails and to stay in communication with them. Because quite frankly, if we're not putting on a Kona Ice, myself and my team are not as deliberate or as consistent making those calls. I'm just being transparent.
Yeah, and I love Stephanie who said it'd be great to have an example or stats like this for Bend, Central Oregon. You guys, this is the email. It was just strictly what he and his team went through that week. So just saying like, we had 6 offers, we did this. If you aren't a team or don't have those stats, talk locally with your people. And you guys have a Facebook group or whatever. I mean, you can make these stats up.
Go to your title company. Just hold on.
Email.
I know.
Yeah.
The stat of the email.
Yeah.
Go to your title company.
Yeah, and then
Just get it.
they'll do all.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Just thank you. I love it. It's our first time teaching together in a year. Normally we're via Zoom. Go to your title company. They'll give it to you. Hey, how much of value's gone up? We go to our title company every single month. What are values at? What have they gone up? And in this market, I think it needs to be every single month because there's just some crazy shit happening.
Yeah.
Just go to your title company and ask them for those stats.
Yeah.
And then use those stats in your messaging. Like, why do you think HGTV exists? Like, the general public is fascinated with our industry. They're fascinated with our industry. Well, all we've got to do is share what's happening in our local, hyper-local market, right? I know Stacy Decker.
Yeah.
Like, share what's happening in your hyper-local market, and you can more or less put HGTV out of business, especially with the crazy stuff happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your title company has all of those stats for you. Your brokerage likely has all of those stats. They're not hard to find. It's not about your team. And I think where Katie's going is another touch we're doing right now is we actually helped my friend Sean get 227,000 over asking last week. And he's a good friend of mine. House right on Portland Golf Course. And then we helped another client get 75,000 over asking. So a lot of our touches are like, here's what we've done the last week. Sean, 227,000 over asking. Bob and Susie, 80,000 over asking. We helped Jim and Sarah buy at 20,000 under asking. We still have some sales at under asking. So we'll send out that proof of success to our database. And it's just a call to action. Like, if you want to buy a home, Craig potentially, even in this market, can save you money. If you want to sell,
Craig,
I
I have a question, Craig.
Sure.
Do you guys do much video?
Not as much as we should, because it's so weird. I can speak in front of 3,000 people this afternoon, but I get really funky on video. It's just I'm super insecure knowing it's going to be out there forever. So I should do more video. And again, I'm being transparent. I don't personally do as much as I should. Some of my team members crush it, but everyone should be doing it. I just suck.
Well, and you also have your Facebook and social media game that was on point. So as to kind of get that media integrated into it, he does have his team running the back end as well for that. So
Yeah.
that's another touch as well in between the mail letter that you do and.
I think it's just consistency. Like, I should do consistent video. I don't, but I never miss, Brian, those 2 touches a month. I'm pretty good on social media. So it's like, I'm doing enough consistently that I'm hitting my personal business goals. If I did video, would I probably do more business? I bet I would. But at least I'm not missing those touches. And if there's anything that Katie's right, that I can leave your agents with is, you guys get those touches out twice a month, you'll do more business. They could just be really simple. Like, the market's crazy hot. The average seller, what are we down to in most markets? 0.8 months of inventory. That's something we talk a lot about, Brian, is right. National Association of Realtors says a healthy balance market, right? So we've all heard of a buyer's market. We've all heard of a seller's market. And the National Association of Realtors says a balanced market that doesn't benefit buyers and doesn't benefit sellers is 6 months of inventory. And right now, I would venture to say in Bend, in Portland, in the market you're in, it's under 1 month everywhere. Share that with your clients. It's that simple. That's a touch. Boom, done. Have a call to action. Your phone will ring.
I think we assume that all of our sphere and our people in our world, they know that this market is crazy. You guys, you are the vehicle for information. They actually don't know about this. And I love when you talk about the tangible things like, hey, like our seller just had this happen to them. And we'll go into our first lead that we can give you guys in a second of something to help you get more listings in a second. But it's express these stories, talk to them. Like, these are humans. We always like kind of get rigid and like, oh, we have to be like business professional. It's like, just send an email that just says this happened today. Do you know that your home has increased 100,000 since November? Like, what? People don't, like, even my own husband, we're talking about selling our own house. I was like, honey, did you know our house is worth like literally 200,000 in the last 2 years? And he's like, well, should we sell? I'm
Yeah,
like,
probably 150 of that 200. Brandon, my stat in Portland as of March has gone up 84,100. I would venture to say that 84,100, 70,000 of it was from October through March.
Yeah.
Yeah, like share that. Well, we had dinner with some friends.
Hallelujah, by the way, I agree 1,000% with you. I shot a video a month or so ago that we as realtors moved the market because, to your point, they don't know exactly what we know. That's a great email. The 84,000 catches my attention. That's a great email.
Thank you. Miss Andrea.
84,000 more this year. I mean, that's like where you sit next door and go, honey, our house is worth almost 100,000 more. We should sell this sucker. I agree. That's a great email.
Thanks, Brian. Well, what we're doing unequivocally, I'm certain of this, is that we are stealing 2022 sellers to 2021. Let me repeat that. We're stealing 2022 sellers to 2021. There's a group of people, Laura's nodding her head, right? There's a group of people that were like, let's sell next year when Johnny graduates from high school. Let's sell next year when you're retiring from Nike, right? Like, we have our plans, nothing's in stone, but we kind of lay that out there mentally. And then we get an email that your house in the last 6 months has gone up 84,100. And we're like, hey, I think we could do some temp housing for a while,
Yep.
right? Like, it just creates some calls to action. You're right, Brian. We do move the market. We move the market. All right, let's give you guys some tips to move some more listings into your world. Let's go. What's Heather got?
What do you say when they say, sure, we can sell and make X amount of money, but what are we going to buy?
What are we going to buy? Yeah, what we say, Heather. And you just leave that up there, Destiny. Heather, we say they're screwed. No, I'm just kidding. You know, that's such a great conversation to have. Like, give me 100 people that respond to my touch campaign saying, Craig, I'd love to sell and capitalize on that 84,100, but I don't know how I can buy in this competitive market. Because here's what I know, and this goes back to the A, B's, and C's. By in a hundreds of exaggeration, if I get 10 people to respond to my touch saying, Craig, I'd love to capitalize on that 84,100, but where do I buy? Out of those 10, a couple are going to be motivated. A couple will be motivated and they'll be willing to sell and get 7 offers and get 80,000 over asking. And they'll be willing to buy and make 7 offers and have to pay 80,000 over asking. Not all of them, but some of them will. So this is where we go back to, it's a numbers game. I wish I was Yoda. I've always wanted to be Yoda or a Jedi and just be like, you will buy a home. And then they repeat, I buy a home. It's like, I can't do that. But what I can do is have enough conversations with enough people about the buying and selling process, and the motivated say, game on, I'm going to take advantage of this. And the unmotivated are like, yeah, I don't want to play right now. It's like, rad. So what do? I put you back in my database. I touch you twice a month, and 3 months from now, or 9 months from now, or 12 months from now, you become motivated, and odds are I will get to represent you because I stayed in communication with you.
You guys, we're not salespeople. We're not convincing people to move. That's not our job. We're just giving them the information for them to make an educated decision. That's all we're doing. Like, nothing, like, at least how we teach and how we coach is not like, oh, you can like bend their mind and change their perception of this and like make them do something. Like, you're not going to get someone to make them buy a house and regret it. So your job is to be the local expert and to give them the information so that they can decide, yep, this makes sense for our family.
Yeah, we do coach to abundance. If we have one client, which I hear this constantly in coaching, with one client, Heather, it's such a good question. Thank you for it. If we have one client and that one client, well, prospective clients like, I would sell, but there's nowhere to buy. And we're just wrangling our head of how to convince this poor person to get their house on the market.
Yeah.
That's just an exercise of exhaustion. But if we have 5 or 6 or 8 people we're having that dialogue with, you're going to have 2 or 3 listing signs up by June 1st, I guarantee you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's an abundance mindset. It's abundance behaviors. So ask yourself that question in your business. If you sold a house to somebody 1 year ago today, How frequently have you communicated with them? In our opinion, if it's less than 24, I could prove to you that you're leaving money on the table. If it's more than 24, I applaud you. If it's 7, great, that's better than 0. If it's 13, fantastic. Try it out for twice a month. Don't worry about what you send, just make sure you communicate with them, and you'll do more business next year than this year with people you know or people they know. How effectively you communicate with the opportunities of being a seller in today's market. That's what Brian and I were just talking about. I got to go to dinner. Did I already say this? I got to go to dinner with some close friends a couple months ago, like right when Portland opened up. Lo and behold, it shut down again. And we're at dinner, and it was Doug and Carrie Howard, some of our dearest friends for 20 years, my wife and I. And Carrie's like, Craig, I'm so sorry. I have a coworker, and I tried to refer him to you, but they already had an agent. I'm like, Carrie, it's cool. And she goes on to tell me how her coworker has lost out on 7 homes. She's like, I mean, she must just have the craziest luck. She found the hottest 7 homes in Portland. I'm like, Carrie, this is like, we're dealing with this like 82 times a week. Like everybody's missing out on 7 homes. And that's where this question comes to. It's what your great coach and mentor and leader, Brian, just shared. How effectively are you communicating what's happening in this market? Then I can go to Portland. You want a great deal? Any of you that are not in Portland, I can give you a smoking deal. It's called a condo downtown. I just can, right? Like between riots and homeless, like you want a $1.1 million condo downtown, I can get you one probably for 700. And it's not because there's a list price of 700, it's because there's about 200 of them for sale.
Yeah.
So odds are if I went and made 200 lowball offers and none of them are very rare, they're actually starting to pick up the last 30 days. We would find a seller that has to sell. There's opportunities in the market. Are you communicating that as well? How are you sharing your proof of success? Katie, you talked about that. Like we helped Sean get 227,000 over asking last week. And how are you scripting problem solving, which is Heather's question. If I sell my home, where do I go? Our number one script with that is the rent back. Brian, the market is so hot, buddy. I'm going to get you a bunch of offers. And when I get you a bunch of offers, I'm going to demand 3 things from those offers. Number 1 is most likely to close. So hopefully that's cash or released earnest money, possibly remove contingencies. Number 2 is most amount of money, right? I want to get you the most likely to close and also the most amount of money. And number 3, Brian, which solves the problem you have here, I'm going to get you a solid 60 plus days before you have to move out. So they're going to pay you for your home and they're going to allow you to stay for up to 2 months. And in most of my negotiating, Brian, I can convince them to let you stay at no charge. So
Right, can I tell you a 20-second story?
Yes, sir.
So I did that personally, and back in January, I was watching the prices and I went, oh my gosh, I can get probably a lot for my house. I was talking to Laura Blasi and I go, I'm thinking of selling my house. And Laura goes, you're in control, ask for a lease back. Well, anyway, long story short, I closed my house the end of February. I'm still in it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so to your point, you're in control. And thank you, Laura Blasi, for giving me that advice.
Laura sounds like a really great agent. So that's it. And then I'll go into my scripting after that little speech of like, I want to get you the buyer that's most likely to close, who pays you the most amount of money. And as Laura said, you're in control, so you can demand that lease back, often for free, by the way. And the final script is, and I guarantee I can find you a home in 60 days, especially this time of year. That was a harder thing to say in November and December. We're at the time of year, right? We're all aware there's seasonality. Deb gets this, Brian gets this. There is more homes that sell May, June, July, and August than there is in all of the other months combined. Every single year. I could take you back to the recession of 2010. There was still more homes that sold May, June, July, and August than there is the other 8 months. That is true year after year. Exceptions to that are places like Phoenix, where we're in today, places like Florida, because what happens is when it's cold as hell in Portland, people come here and buy vacation homes because it's 80 degrees in January. So their seasonality is a little different, but most markets around the country, May, June, July, August, possibly September, more homes will sell in those 5 months than the other 7 months. So it's not hard to be looking a client in the eye and say, guys, if I get you 60 days to lease back, plus you've got the period of closing, well, even cash, that's a couple of weeks. If I get you the 2 weeks of closing and a 60-day lease back in 75 days, this time of year, it's going to be competitive. I'll find you a home. So that's the script we'll use. Next slide, Destiny. Brian, you're awesome, man. And all of you, like, I really love the questions. Brian, I appreciate you jumping in. All right. Let's get some listing scripts. So we had an hour and a half today, and you guys are awesome. So we have 34 minutes left. I'm going to keep going until you kick me out. Dominate listings. List a house, yay. Right. Our amazing marketing, Brian. This is why you brought us here. List a house, yay. No, seriously, list a house. Good job. That's not easy to do in this market. Let's go away from the slide. I'll just role play this one with Katie.
Well, just so you guys know, so we've talked one thing, work on your database, start a touch today, at least every other week. And then this is like the second, but I think the best thing that you're gonna walk away with. So don't hang up after this, but start, like, get your notepad out. We will send the slides if you guys want them, as well as templates of everything that you see. But this is like hands down what we've been giving to all of our clients is generating the most listings across the country in every market. So this is like our favorite thing.
Wow, it's a build up.
I know.
We do have this typed out, this script, by the way. All right, so Katie, I just listed your home for you and Brian.
Yay.
Good job. You
Yeah, I
won.
did the script. Yay.
Yay. Well, and you know what? I'm going to get you at least 81,000 more than you had last year. So
Yeah.
congrats.
I'll take it.
Cool. So thanks for hiring me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's time to work with you.
Katie, can I ask for your help? I want to get you the most amount of offers possible. Can I ask for your help?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. It'll be really easy. It is not uncommon the buyer of your home will come from your neighborhood. Let me repeat, Stacy. It is not uncommon the buyer of your home will come from your neighborhood.
Tell me more.
Well, it's just like, especially in this pandemic, somebody wants their sister to live closer to them so their kids can play together. Somebody's parents live in California and want to buy a home closer to them so they can actually see their grandkids. Somebody's best friend wants, well, I mean, I look at you, your neighbor, you've got Cooley, you've got Brian. I mean, her neighborhood in Eugene, all of her friends have golf carts and they just shoot back. And I'm not making this up.
I literally made 6 of my different friend groups all move into my neighborhood
Okay, so
within a year.
Yeah, Katie is literally proof. It is not uncommon someone your neighbors know will be the buyer of your home. So knowing that, Katie, I want your help. But what I want to do is I want to reach out to all of your neighbors. And I know that I could send a stupid just listed card like every other agent does. And by the way, I'm not making fun of you if you do that. I've done it hundreds of times. But what I know is if they get a letter from you and the return address on the envelopes from you and Derek, what street do you live on?
St. Croix.
What? St. Croix? From you and Derek on St. Croix Street, there's a greater opportunity they're going to open that letter than if it's a postcard from Craig Reger from XYZ Realty. Is that fair?
That makes sense.
Okay, so here's all the letters going to say. Hey, dear neighbors, Derek and I are relocating to Phoenix. We're putting our house on the market this weekend. We wanted to invite you to know it's for sale. And if you have any friends or family that might be interested in living in the neighborhood, I've included my agent's card. Please make them aware we're coming on the market in the next 24 hours. So Katie, I'll do all the typing. Could I send that out to you on your behalf?
Yeah, I don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything.
Go for
And
it.
now where do I get the 100 neighbors? So what did you do before real estate?
I worked at title company.
Oh, ring, favorite title company.
Hello, Craig.
Hello, favorite title company. How are you?
Oh, what do you need?
I need listings.
Okay.
I need a lot of listings.
What can I do?
I just listed Katie DeWitt's house on St. Croix Street. I want her nearest 200 neighbors. Can you get me their addresses, the owner occupied ones?
Yep, I can even print them and drop them off in an hour.
Can you give me the little mailing labels so I can stick those bad boys on?
Yep, I'll print them.
All right, you're awesome. So that's how we get the neighbors' contact info. All right, fast forward, today's Thursday.
Mhm.
What's going to happen on Monday?
It'll be sold.
I'll have 4, right?
It'll be pending.
Yes or no in your markets, Chris? If you put a house on the market today, Dana loves this. Thank you. I know Dana Austin. All right. It's so fun to see people I know. I'm not going to know anybody today in Phoenix when I'm on
It
stage.
is fun being in our backyard.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Monday. I have 4 offers for you, right, Dana? Like, Dana, yes or no? If we put a house on the market today, are we going to have 4 offers or more by Monday? By Monday, I vote yes.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Monday.
Sweet.
Hey, congrats! I got you 27,000 over asking, and hi Dana. I got you 27,000 over asking, and I got you a 60-day free rent back. Congrats!
Sweet. Thank you so much.
How happy are you and Derek?
I'm very happy.
I'm ecstatic for you guys. 27,000 over asking and a 60-day free rent back.
Yeah, amazing. You did a great job.
Thank you. Can I ask? Here's the magic, Dana. Here's the magic. Can I ask for your help?
Anything you need, you made me a ton of money.
27,000 to be exact.
Yeah.
Can I ask for your help?
Yeah.
Awesome. It's super competitive in my world right now, and I love your neighborhood. I absolutely love it, and I want to do more business in your neighborhood. You know that little letter I sent out before you hit the market?
Yep.
I want to do another round, and only if you and Derek are comfortable. Here's what it's going to say. Dear neighbors, we successfully sold our home. We received multiple offers above asking price. We'll be moving to Phoenix soon. We hope you enjoy the folks who have bought it. We wanted to let you know, we promised our agent, Craig Reger, if he did a great job, we would share that with all of you. If you have any needs to buy or sell real estate, I would highly recommend you interview Craig Reger. Again, take care, Katie and Derek. Katie, can I send that out to the same 200 neighbors?
Absolutely.
If you want to get a listing down the street from your listing, I guarantee you this will work 9 out of 10 times. What do you think, Brian?
Honestly, those 2 tips are the greatest ideas I've heard this year.
Okay, so I built up and it was worth it, right?
They are awesome.
You
And
guys-
I've been selling real estate since World War II. So that is unbelievable. Those are great ideas. I love them. Everybody should do that. And very, very few times would I ever see. And how could I've never heard that idea before?
well,
Those are great ideas. They're great ideas. Unbelievable. Everybody should be doing it.
So then a lot of the little bit of questions that kind of roll in from this. Number one is the most important part of this is to put the seller's information on that front of it. So that, and you can tell your seller, people then say like, well, where, what if they kick back, whatever, the person's going to move anyway. So just warn your seller, hey, you might get a couple kickback, whatever, just throw them out or say, or I'll come get them later. Not a big deal, you guys. It's really important that's that part. Next is postage and handwriting. We don't care. Just get it out, you guys. Like this is not something that you have a lot of time on. So, right, like you have to list it typically like within the week and then get these out. So you can pre-write a template and then of course throw in the extra little, we'll send you a template, but you can add in the extra details like where the house on the corner or whatever. You guys, if you missed the first one, just get one of them out. We don't care. I've even been coaching people to do a third or fourth one again because they're getting so much business from it. You can reword this as many times as possible. Like just get the letter
Why
out.
don't you type your email address into the chat box? So we've got those scripts typed out. If that would be helpful, you just have to email Miss Katie DeWitt. Destiny, take a look at your text because I need to see something. And email Miss Katie DeWitt, and she can send you typed out versions of it. Okay, I love what you just shared. Like people tweak out, well, is it typed or is it handwritten? We don't give a crap. Just actually send it out. It's just that simple. Does that make sense? Like if you do this with every single listing, you will get more listings. Don't tweak out on, is it typed or handwritten, or what if the clients get junk mail back? Of course they're going to get junk mail back. Like some of those mail addresses, who cares? They can throw them away. Destiny, I need you to load that slide for me.
You guys, I'm going to also give you a little tidbit.
Hold on, I want to hit this.
No.
Yeah, sorry. This is whose job is this? Brian, is this the listing? Is the CEO's job to lick those envelopes and stuff those letters? Probably not.
No. No.
Is it the showing agent's job? The person's supposed to open doors. Is their job to lick those envelopes and call the title company and stuff those envelopes? No. No, it's
your 15-year-old daughter's job.
There you go.
It's the admin's job. And again, if you don't have a 15-year-old daughter, if you don't have a house cleaner, you're the house cleaner. If you don't have an admin, you're the admin. So the place that's great, Dusty, you can unshare. Thank you. I just want to go back to the org chart and show you how this all comes together. The place that you will rise or fall in this industry, you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet. And if we don't live a portion of our time in the admin, or to Brian's point, if we don't hire our 15-year-old daughter or niece or nephew or college intern to do it for us, 9 out of 10 times, Frank, it doesn't get done. Like, I'm not telling you this one was something you've never heard before. I'll guarantee that. You have not heard this technique before. But come on, ladies and gentlemen, you know you're supposed to have a database. You know you're supposed to send out touches. I'm not giving you world-breaking, first-time ever heard curriculum. But the problem is we go in this industry, here's Craig's rant, we go in this industry because we love people, we love sales, we love negotiating, we love the flexibility of being self-employed. Like we love all of those things. That's why we went in this industry, right, Stacy? We didn't go in this industry to sit in front of our bloody computer for an hour a day and send touches out to our database. One of my coaches said to me, have you ever met an agent that's in their 10th year of business and they act like it's their first year? I repeat, have you ever met an agent who's in their 10th year of business who acts like it's their first year? I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, I'll share with you. He goes, we make sacrifices. We miss our daughter's soccer games. We cancel date night with our partner or spouse. For me, it was always fishing because my friends had normal jobs. So they'd go fishing on Saturday. I'm a super avid fly fisherman. And so we'd have it booked all week long. We're going to the Deschutes River on Saturday. And you know what would happen? Friday night, I'd get a client that would call and they'd be like, hey, Craig, I think we're going to buy that home. Can we see it one more time on Saturday? Well, guess who didn't go fishing? My friends were always so pissed. Like, you always cancel. And I'm like, guys, it's the industry I chose. I've got to show this home. This is how I pay my bills. We make these massive sacrifices on behalf of our clients. And then we drop them like a hot rock after closing. Like, we are a weird industry. We spend more time convincing people we don't know to work with us Look at an open house. What's the premise of an open? I'm going to go to a stranger's home. I'm going to hope other strangers come through. I'm going to hope they give me their contact info. I'm going to hope I follow up with them. And I'm going to hope they buy or sell a house from me. Yes or no? Is that not the premise of an open? And right now, somebody's getting super pissed. Oh, I'm really good at opens. Good for you. I'm good at opens too. But let's be clear. The premise of an open house is to convince a stranger to work with us. Yeah, we have this amazing client that we served and we don't communicate with them. So at the end of the day, this program will work touching your database. You will get one listing minimum per listing. I mean, you guys know it. You go to pick up your sign in your lockbox and you see a Remax sign literally across the street from your property at closing. You're like, well, that could be yours if you use this program. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, one last thing, National Association of Realtors. Maddie, where's Maddie G? He's been super quiet.
Nope, just went blank.
Matt's gone. Perfect timing. All right, Katie,
Yep.
National Association of Realtors. They went and interviewed 1,000 consumers last year and said, hey, did you have a good experience?
Mm-hmm.
What percentage said I had a great experience, I'd use my agent again?
It's almost 90%.
Yeah, 9 out of 10. Brands. As an industry, that's pretty rad, right? Like you consider the complexities and stress of buying and selling. 9 out of 10 said a great experience, I'd use my agent again. NAR went when it interviewed another 100,000 people that were buying and or selling their second or third home. What percentage of them used the same agent they previously used?
It drops down. It's pretty sad. It drops down to like 10 to 20%.
Yeah, it's about 11 to 17. Brian, how do we go from 9 out of 10 people saying, Stacy, you're amazing. Laura, you're fantastic. Frank Wood, you're the best. From 9 out of 10 saying that as an industry. And then about 1 out of 10 on average use the same agent they used before. We didn't stay in touch with them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't call it a database at Reger Coaching Consulting. We call it data bank. If you invest into that relationship after closing through a consistent touch campaign, you will get paid giant dividends. Sorry, I know you had something. I had to get that heater out. Thank you for listening.
Well, and you guys, the secret sauce, I'm gonna get you off the hook right now. So can you guys wave or flat, whatever. If you've been in the industry for over 3 years, can you wave or not? Who's been in for over 3 years? All right, so there's a few of you guys. Guess what? Anything that you haven't done yet, like maybe a perfect database or getting your newsletter out or an event, a client event or something like that.
So nice.
If you haven't done it yet, you're not going to do it. Let's just get really real with ourselves right now. We don't have time to be messing around. Like the next 6 months, like our crystal ball doesn't go further than that. We know the next 6 months is going to be the most advantageous for us, most lucrative that we've ever seen in history. We do not have time to be messing around. Now, your intentions are great. I believe that you woke up, got your license a few years ago and said, I'm going to have the best database. I'm going to stay in touch with every single person that I work with. I'm going to create a better experience than the one I had, right? And if you haven't done it today, you're not going to. So
without help.
So go pay someone today. Seriously, like we're not like trying to push teams or anything. I'm trying to save you time, get you back with your family and make a ton of money, right? Money and balance. This is what we're here for right now to coach you guys on. So literally to start with these flyers or to do even just this just listed thing, pay your neighbor to stuff these envelopes.
Pay your neighbor's kid.
Your kid, like go onto Facebook and say who has a 15-year-old who's like not in school right now and have them stuff those envelopes or write the letter. I don't care if there's a typo on it, get it out. You don't have time. This will get you more listings and will create that snowball for you guys, which is what everyone needs right now is more listings. So if it's your database, you want to find an agent who hasn't sold a house in 5 years right now and just hire them because they know how to get into your back end. Hire them today for $400 for the next week to input 200 people in your database and start a newsletter next week. Like that is worth $200, $300, $400 to just get it done. Like this is what's going to get you more listings.
Do you guys want another listing technique that takes a little bit of work, and can definitely get you some listings?
Yeah.
So everybody knows what a FSBO is, right? Stacy, Jen, you guys have heard of a FSBO? Yeah, they're fun.
They're special.
Yeah, we can talk about those too. But Brian, have you ever heard the expression RENTBO? RENTBO. Do you know what a RENTBO is?
I don't.
Oh, good. Well, let's talk about RENTBOs. So Katie, you own investment properties, yes?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. So do you hire a property management company who takes 10% first to the half of the first month's rent, or do you and Derek rent it out yourselves?
I rent it out myself.
Do you rent it as Realtor Katie, or do you just literally like landlord Katie?
Yep, just landlord Katie.
So how do you advertise it?
I do Craigslist and Zillow.
And do you put a sign in the yard sometimes?
Yep.
Okay, so so what? They like somebody, you show it to them, they fill out a rental application, you as some third party that says that they're not axe murderers, and then you're in charge of that rental.
Yep.
Okay, she's a rentbo. She's not hiring a property manager, she's managing herself. Ladies and gentlemen, do you feel that there's possibly thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of rentbos throughout your market? Probably.
Especially in Bend.
Probably. Maybe Bend, maybe not, because a lot of the owners might be out of state. But regardless, there's rentbos everywhere. And rentbos, people are like, how do I find rentbos? They want to be found. They're literally advertising, call me, text me, email me, my property's for rent. If you look for rentbos, you will find them on Craigslist, on Zillow, etc.
Yep.
Okay, so why do we want rentbos? Katie, have you ever sold any of your rental properties?
Sold one about 6 months ago
Oh, why did you sell?
because it was worth a ton of money and my renter was a lot of work.
So it went up so much in value, you said, I don't want to be a landlord anymore.
Yep.
And the renter was pissing you off.
Yep.
I sold 2 of my recent rentals. She was on a few minutes ago. One of my business partners, Andrea Morrison, she has 2 rentals that used to be my rentals. And I sold them to her for a multitude of reasons. One, I was tired of being a landlord of those 2 units. 2, I wanted to cash out of those and invest them into a different opportunity that was actually outside of rentals. People sell for a multitude of reasons. And sometimes being a landlord people trash your place. I mean, hell, look at Oregon with all of the rental restrictions, the moratoriums. Like it's been a disastrous year for some to be a landlord. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right, here's the script. Ring, ring.
Hello,
Hi, is this Katie?
it is.
Katie, this is Craig Reger with ABC Homes in Portland, Oregon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. What could you do?
I saw your property for rent on 123 Main Street in Bend. Have you rented it?
No, I have not.
Okay, great. Well, the reason I'm calling is the typical seller in Bend right now is getting about 40,000 over asking with multiple offers. If I could do that for you, would you be a seller instead of a landlord?
No, I want to keep it as a rental.
Oh, good for you. So here's an awesome part of the script. Good for you. So you're a savvy investor.
Well, yes, I am. Thank you.
Good. Don't we like savvy investors who own rental properties? Say yes, real estate agents. Good for you. You're a savvy investor. I look for great deals every single day. Yes, they're harder to come by in this market. If I find more great deals, do you want to add to your portfolio?
Absolutely.
Great. Let me get some more contact info from you, blah, blah, blah. I'll be in touch. Where do I put all of that contact info?
Data bank.
How often do I touch her?
Every 2 weeks.
Yes. That's simple. I just added to my Met database to a proven investor. Let's do the script again. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Katie?
Yes.
Katie, this is Craig Reger with ABC Homes here in Bend, Oregon. I saw your property for rent on 123 Main Street. Have you rented it?
No, I have not.
Awesome. Reason I'm calling is the typical seller in Bend right now is getting about 30 to 40,000 over asking, multiple offers, waived inspections. Often, if I could get you that type of results, would you be a seller instead of a landlord?
Yeah, that thing is a pain in my butt. I'd sell it.
You don't think when you're a rentbo, you show up to show it to somebody and they stand you up? That happens all the time. You catch somebody right when they're pissed off like that, and they'll say,
So I'd take it.
well,
Sell it.
you'll just say maybe.
Yeah.
If you could get me enough, what you'll normally hear is either no, I love it, great, I'll find you more like it, or they'll say,
Take it off my hands.
no, they'll say maybe.
Maybe.
They'll say
Well,
maybe if you get me enough money, let's
Yeah.
role play. Or they'll
Yeah.
say
Maybe.
maybe if you make me enough money, I might sell it. Good. Well, it sounds like we should talk,
Mhm.
right? Why don't I come over? I'll show you what it's worth. If you like that number, we can talk more about what it looks like to sell. And if you don't like that number, I'll leave. That's an honest role play.
Yep.
There's a group that will say, yeah, maybe if I could get enough money, I would sell this right now. Well, it sounds like I should come over. What works better for you, 2 today or 4 tomorrow? And I'm not saying I'm not going to convince her to list with me, but I'll promise you this, Stacy, if you caught a couple rentbos every single day, you would list a couple more houses a month. Just by my basic math, a couple is 2. There's 12 months in a year. How would you like to take 24 more listings? Does that make sense? And the beautiful thing about rentbos is you have 0 competition. All right, I know I'm being aggressive. What we're going to share?
Nothing. You're on a roll.
Well, it's important to have a real role play. It's very rare somebody says, take it off my hands. But what you often hear is, yeah, like, I am kind of pissed off. The last renters trashed it. Or, yeah, I'm glad you called. I'm in a bad mood. I've been here for an hour waiting for somebody to come and they no-showed me.
Yeah.
If you could make me enough money, I might talk to you about selling.
Well, and again, you guys, it's consistency. Like we literally thought we would never sell that house. That was my husband's first home that he ever bought. Like we were like glued to that house for the rest of our life. And it was just that week, the water heater went out, the fence had to be repaired, the renter was being annoyed, and literally all 3 things just happened. And we're just like, we're selling it today. But we were in the industry, so we heard about it constantly. So we made that decision. So are you in constant communication with your people?
Yeah. Oh, I was just seeing if there's any more chats.
Yeah.
How we doing,
I
Brian?
just want to share really quick. It's so true. We've got to stay consistent with our people. Someone from my database reached out, said, I think it's time to sell my home. I knew this person also had a rental. I listed his personal home and his rental. So how often do we stay in touch with our people and how well do we know them? So that turned into 2 sales.
Well, what's really cool, Matt, is your ex-boyfriend and you're still in communication with him.
Exactly.
And what's really cool is actually his personal house in Salem had not gone up much in value. And you said, Ryan, I know that you've got this property in Wilsonville and that market's red hot. And you asked him, this is true, like we're putting this on the market next week. You'll see it in multiple listing. He's like, I really hope to get 325. What are you listing it for, Matt?
374.
How happy is Ryan? Right? Like Ryan was not going to sell the rental until Matt said he could get him 374. And by the way, that's just a list price. You guys know what's going to happen. We're going to get multiple offers and probably get them like 390.
Yeah.
Craig, do you go to the listing appointment with these rent posts? Do you go to a listing appointment before you offer a CMA via email? It depends how busy I am. That's a really good question, Laura. It just depends how busy I am. If I'm scheduling a ton of these, I might just send over a quick email being like, hey, I've done a quick value. I haven't seen your property. And, I think you're at 400. If I've got no listing appointments that week, my butt's going over there and trying to convince them to list with me. I don't know if that answers your question, but it really just comes down to how successful I am at setting these appointments. But I don't do anything before I call. I think every one of us with integrity can say the average seller in our market's getting 20,000 over asking. So I just call and share that or whatever's happening in your market.
Greg, how do you find investors and people with, well, we know the rent bows, they're literally raising their hand to be found, but where do you find investors?
Yeah, and one more thing on rent bows, they're easy to find. And just like a professional real estate agent, you know that we're an agent from our marketing. If it's a professional property manager, it's very clear that landlord has hired a property manager. The rent bows ad looks different. They're easy to find on Zillow.
Are you saying that my ad looks like crap?
Kind of. What was your question?
So then going to investors, it's the same
Oh,
story.
I love calling investors. So Ring Title Company.
Hello,
Favorite title company. It's Craig. How are you?
no, I'm Craig. What can I do for you?
I need listings.
Of course you do. What can
I
I do?
need listings. Can you give me a list of everybody in Bend that owns 4 or more homes?
Yes, I can.
Any single person entity that owns 4 or more homes?
Yep, I can do that.
Awesome. When can I have that?
1 hour.
Can you get me phone numbers with that?
I actually can get scrubbed. It's a third party though.
Okay, some title companies can actually get you a list with phone numbers. So again, this takes work.
Yep.
All right, so you got me the list. Ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Katie?
Yes.
Hey, Katie, this is Craig Reger. I'm with Cascade Sotheby's here in Bend. And tax records indicate you own at least 4 properties throughout the Bend market. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, reason I'm calling is the average property last year alone went up 81,100. The average property, some went up substantially more. Are you looking to cash in and sell any of your investment properties?
One of them, I would consider that.
Is that a fun group to call? Probably not, because it's hardcore cold calling. But at the end of the day, if I spent 20 minutes a day calling through that list, Laura, could I get a listing or 2 a month? Probably. So it just depends what you want to put into it. But that's why we started a database, because the more we work our database, quite frankly, the less we have to make these phone calls. Just take to heart or hopefully consider what I said. We're a weird industry. We are.
Leave it at that.
We're a weird industry. We spend more time convincing people we don't know to work with us than we do staying in relationship with our past clients, family, and friends.
Do you guys want to know the statistics of working with people, the Mets versus not Mets? You guys, when we are working with a group of people who've never met, that's a paid lead, that's open house sources, things that are, well, you would argue that that's a Met now, but you grab
Open houses aren't that.
yeah, so that's
Paid leads.
Paid leads, right? Website leads, things where it's just you had to pay money and work hard to get this group of strangers that we don't know who they are. If you are in communication with them consistently for a year, it takes 50 strangers, if you're in communication with them consistently for 1 year, to get 1 sale.
Yeah.
50 to 1. Now, if I worked on my database, which is easier, it's
Family, friends, past clients.
right, people who know, love, and trust me, that's a 6 to 1 conversion rate.
For every 6 people in your database, if you touch them at least 24 times, you'll get 1 piece of business, whether they directly use you or refer you to a family or friend.
And it weeds out the weirdos.
It's also cheaper. Yeah, there's weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's less weirdos in your database, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We've got 9 minutes left, Brian. Is there anything you want to make sure we talk about? Stephanie, Steve, Carly, Jonathan Hicks. I hope we brought you guys some value. We've got some more content we can throw out there. But again, this is for all of you. your business, your balance, your consistency? Is there anything that you want to put in the chat box or unmute yourself and make sure we wrap about in the final 5 minutes?
Oh, thank you, Frank.
What did Frank say?
Huge value.
Thank you, Frank. We appreciate you. Crickets. What do you think, Stacey? I just totally suck. Is that why there's no questions?
They're scared. Your energy is very intense.
Well, I'm super focused. I do have to get on the stage in front of 3,000 people. That's intimidating. I haven't done that in 14 months. No, it's intense because I'm passionate and I care. Right, I'm passionate. I care. We have the most remarkable industry on the planet. There is tech companies investing billions of dollars to take our market share, and I'm super passionate because I think we just have a phenomenal industry. I know the value that great agents like you give at your phenomenal company, and I also know the struggles we have. Right, I know that taxes are due in 4 days. Thank goodness they gave us an extra month this year. And I know that some of us are struggling to pay those taxes. That's just a reality of this business. Brian knows that. He's on brokerages all over the country. And so my goal is just to help people be more consistent. So if I'm intense or passionate, it's not because I just wanted to scream for an hour and 23 minutes. It's because I really, really care about this industry. I know how remarkable it is. I know the highs and lows. I know the passion that we go through with our clients. I know the ups and downs. I know the trauma of working with unmotivated people and going home exhausted and pulling our hair out that they didn't take our advice. Like, I know it. And so that's where it's all coming from. And that's why I opened a coaching company. What's that question say? I knew if I talk long enough, somebody'd ask a question. So
no, Craig, I do think if I went out to dinner with you and Deb, I'd probably have to sleep about 3 days after that, but that's okay. It's good.
We were just exhausted.
I love your passion, dude.
If someone has, thank you, sir. If someone has not yet done any of these things in terms of touches with past clients and they're an individual agent with no assistant working 100 hours a week, Jen, first off, hire a coach. Where's the best place to start? Honestly, I would say hire a coach. It doesn't matter if it's my company, but I would get some help because you are working 100 hours a week. So the first place to start, besides hiring a coach, I do mean that, I have to, because this is my passion, is I would hire Brian's 15-year-old daughter. And I would simply just start my first touch. Hey, we haven't talked for a while. I just want to share with you. And Jen, I don't know what market you're in. Let's say Bend. Get your stats. The average property in Bend, I bet Bend's gone up over 6 figures. The average property in Bend has gone up 100,000. I hope you're well. If you're a past buyer of mine, congratulations. You made at least 100,000. And I hope you have a great summer. I wouldn't even ask for business, but I would pay somebody to send a touch out and give them a market update. And then 2 weeks later, I would pay somebody. And there's a lot of it was Jen, right? There's a lot of third-party companies that you could hire. I don't really like them, but it doesn't mean I'm right. I don't really like them, but it doesn't mean I'm right. Like, I don't want to send a touch out that could go to Wichita, Kansas, Miami Beach, Florida, and Bend, Oregon, and it's harmonious to all. I'm a really big fan of local touches, local to my market, local to Craig Reger holding a fish with a fly rod in his hand. That's who I am. That's how my clients know me. So I want them to see me and the touch local to the market. It doesn't have to have gold leaf. It doesn't have to be the most impressive thing on the planet. It just has to consistently say, when you think real estate, think of me. My office, I know Steve's is really close too. My office is across the street from the world headquarters of Nike. I could go to China and hold up a shoe. What do you think people would say?
Just do it.
Right, I could go to the end of the Arctic Circle and hold up a Nike, and what would people say? Swoosh, right? Nike's done a really good job of convincing people. When you think athletic gear, you think
Nike.
Our job, ladies and gentlemen, is to be the Nike of real estate in our town. When you think real estate, think of me, and that comes through constant communication in some capacity. Katie, I'm going to put you in charge. We're going to go. Is there any other questions? Matt, what did Maddie say? I'm sure it was brilliant.
If you guys have any questions and want to go further, we love working with you guys. We love that you guys are in Bend. And so I think that we'll do free coaching sessions. If you guys want to email Matt, if you'll put my email back in, Matt's actually going to follow up with all of you guys.
Destiny, go to the last slide really quick.
Matt's going to follow up with all of you guys and just see if you guys want to book on my calendar or with him and just do a free coaching session. So because we want to, if you want to learn more about coaching, we can do that.
I'm sorry.
You people while I was talking. It's a new low.
I love you.
If you guys, so book that with him. He'll send you my calendar link so it can go straight to, you guys can pick the time. You guys, we are running a coaching company to help you grow your business. We are direct. All of our coaches are people that Craig has handpicked and worked with over the years. So we know their style, we know what they're doing, their purpose.
What's the average production of one of our coaches?
50 million.
Yeah, literally our average coach says 50 million. We don't say that's an intimidating number. We say they lived through this pandemic and they've overcome. They've lived through clients saying, if I sell, where do I buy? So they're just highly productive. They don't coach for the money. They're doing it because like us, they just love it.
Yeah, well, and we just give you, we work at a really fast pace. Obviously, you can see that after today. But our coaches actually give you current information, right? They're boots on the ground right now. And as things have changed every weekday, year right now, they're actually giving you things like the things that you've seen today of, hey, I've actually used this script or I've used this marketing campaign and it got me 5 listings last week. Why don't you use it? Copy, paste, and roll with it.
Yeah, here's the touch that got me 7 listing appointments. So we're not going to harass you guys. Our goal today, Deb and Brian reached out to me. It's been a pleasure to spend time with you. And we are also lead generating just like all of you should be in your businesses. So if you felt we brought value today, if you feel getting this type of value 45 times a year could help you have more business, more balance, more consistency. There's the wonderful Katie. Maddie G is her counterpart. You've got their contact info, reach out. And if not, that's totally cool as well. I think it was Jen brought it home for me. It's like, how do you do this when you're working 100 hours a week? Well, hire somebody to help you work 40 hours a week and do twice the business. That's what it comes down to. So thank you, Brian, you're awesome. I really appreciate your input on today's call. And to all of you, I hope you have a phenomenal summer. I hope you have incredible balance and incredible success. Thanks so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
both.
All right,
Appreciate it.
take care.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Bye, good to see you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.